Hey everybody, I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching the Sit Down. Brent Smith here with us from Shinedown. Brent, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to talk to me.
Yeah, you got it. So it's a pretty wild time right now with coronavirus. Basically, everybody in the world is impacted by it. And I love
Yeah.
that you and the band have stepped up and you're helping people out. So how have you been dealing with all this, and how did you guys come together with the idea for relief efforts?
I think the biggest factor in all of this is we're having to educate ourselves. If I walk it back like 5 weeks ago, before I actually even knew the term social distancing or quarantine for that matter, for us, finding out exactly what coronavirus is and what COVID-19 actually means, I think I was, like a lot of people, really stunned by this because it just seemed like it wasn't like a ramp up, even though we know now that there were people that did know. But even there, it's tough to point a finger at somebody. Like right now, the most important thing is really banding together. I mean, the amount of humanity that I'm witnessing on a daily basis and how people are really coming together. I've always said that I think that, as human beings, we're our best when we need each other. So with that being said, I just kind of dug into the internet. I just started educating myself on what was going on, what this virus was. As I was doing that, I came across an organization called Direct Relief. And the really interesting thing about Direct Relief is that they've been around since 1948. They're based in Santa Barbara. They're actually 51 minutes from me right now because I'm in Ventura County. And as I was finding out who they are and what they do, their entire mission, their sole mission is to get the medical community, the scientific community, these men and women that are on the front line during crisis, whether it's poverty, a natural disaster, a pandemic like right now. Their goal is to get the medical community what they need in order to save as many lives as possible, and to also be able to manage the kind of the chaos that can happen with a crisis. Because if the medical staff isn't taken care of also, and the scientific community isn't taken care of, we can't get to where we need to get in order to eradicate this. So we reached out to them. We said that we'd like to partner with them to help in any possible way that we could. With that being said, we developed a t-shirt that was basically based off of a song. While I was finding out who Direct Relief was, a song popped into my mind from back in the days, 8 years ago, actually, when we were doing an album called Amaryllis during the writing process. It's a song called Atlas Falls, and the whole dynamic of the song is Atlas, which was basically the god of endurance. He kind of picked a fight with Titans and he lost, and Zeus placed the weight of the world on his shoulders, basically. And so the question was, well, what happens if Atlas was to fall? Who would help him? And that would be us. So it's definitely a song of optimism. It really is a song of hope. And understanding that it's very, very difficult at the moment, the situations that you might be facing, but if you band together, you can overcome it. And I've seen that time and time again in my own personal life. So adding the song in with the t-shirt, the shirt's $50. You can go to shinedown.com. The link is right there with Direct Relief. If you buy the shirt, like I said, it is $50, but it costs $5 to make it. I think this is important for people to know. And then the rest of the proceeds, all 100% of the proceeds, go to Direct Relief. We're steadily approaching $250,000, and it's growing each and every day. And that's only about 3.5 weeks now that it's been up. At the moment, we're leaving it at an indefinite period of time, if you will, because this is an ongoing process right now. And these men and women that are on the front line, not just in the United States, because Direct Relief works with all 50 states, but they also work with 100 other countries. So they are sending planes out via FedEx and what have you, going to different parts of the globe right now, making sure that these people have what they need. But you buy the shirt, the money goes directly to them. The song is not on any DSPs right now either. When you buy this shirt, you get the song as a download, as a gift, if you will. And if you don't have $50, you can go to directrelief.org. If you've got $10, $5, you can make a donation directly to them as well. But that's kind of how all of this happened, and we're just trying to keep the conversation going. This song right now is getting played on terrestrial radio in the U.S. and parts of other countries. But we want people to understand that if you're hearing the song, the song exists because of Direct Relief right now. We're trying to build an awareness to how incredible this organization is.
Well, it's really awesome what you guys are doing. And like you said, every little bit helps. And I think it's interesting because like you guys did this song 8 years ago, and
Yeah.
it has such a direct impact to what's going on right now. So what's it like for you to listen to yourselves back then and think about how things apply in today's world?
It's interesting. It's interesting because I always loved the song. We write a lot of songs for all the records that we produce, and just because a song doesn't make an album doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad song. It just wasn't right for that record at that particular time. I always thought that the song would see the light of day. I didn't realize it was going to be to this effect at this height of a level. But it's always been a very powerful song. It's interesting because it was recorded 8 years ago. I've been asked, like, well, did you go back in and like redo some of the lyrics? Did you kind of, 2020 the mix up or what have you? I'm like, no, the song that you hear today was exactly the song that it was 8 years ago.
Wow.
So it's very interesting how that kind of linked up also. But once again, right now more than ever, people need optimism, and they do need a sense of, and they need to be optimistic, because we can't just necessarily, I just don't want people to think that it's going to be like this forever, because, we're very lucky that we have a lot of doctors in our community also that are friends of ours, just from traveling, over the years and what have you. And a very good friend of mine that's an orthopedic surgeon in Kansas City the other day said something to me that was pretty profound. He said, Brent, all pandemics have one thing in common. And I said, what's that? He said, they all ended. It just depends on the speed in which they end is going to, that kind of rests on us right now, because this isn't just in one area. This is on all four corners of the globe right now. So it really is up to us to be smart, to be, if we can at this point. I think a lot of researchers, a lot of people are trying to get a solid treatment, ultimately a vaccine. But even that, you have to try to be, now that we're learning more about it, 10 steps ahead of it, and it's taken some time. I know people are frustrated, but we are going to get on the other side of this. Believe me. You got to hold on. I know it's tough, but there's a reason that this is happening also. And I think we have to look at, how the environment is being affected by this, how our, it's interesting, man, because I think the universe in some ways looks at this as a human population, as a species, making the point of, are you all going to start being kinder to each other now? Are you going to start listening to each other now, and maybe not just popping off at the mouth right out of the gate with a conversation? Let both sides say their piece. You know what I mean? You don't have to always have a conflict. You can create a compromise if you'll let both parties talk.
Yeah, I think it's happening at a really interesting time in our history. And, you and the band, you serve such an important role because you guys are leaders in the community using your voice, but also people just need an outlet right now. So just listening to music is such a great experience. Like, I'm listening to Second Chance this morning, and I'm like, it's just making me feel good. Like, I needed that. Good. So what's been like, seeing people listening to your tunes all across the world throughout all this?
Well, we're obviously, not just with Atlas, because that's, because of what's going on right now, but just the catalog from the band. We're encouraging people to, post as much as they can online, just smiling, trying to show as much optimism as possible.